Alright, so I want to talk today about 3 different sales techniques, and these are approaches you can take when you go into a phone call, into a meeting. Because the thing is, across the world there are an innumerable number of different approaches to selling, and the reality is that some work for some people and some work for others. And so these are 3 things that I've had in mind when I've sold effectively in the past. These are 3 approaches that I think are good states of mind to have, and they're really good ways in which to approach a cold sale. So the first one is more a rule rather than an approach as per se, but it's essential because so many people fall short of this, and it's the never argue rule. So here's the thing. When it comes to selling, you need to understand that the customer is always right as a term or as an idea is a very important state of mind. So you need to be looking at this as if to say, it's not that the person I'm trying to sell to has all the answers, but it is the case that they need to feel like they are in control and that ideas they have or opinions aren't shot down and they're not told that they are wrong. If you go out and out to actually argue with someone, tell them that they're wrong or that their opinion is incorrect, what you're doing is you're basically killing the most important part of a sale, which is the actual connection and the rapport. The moment you tell someone they're wrong, you may get respect from some people if you do it in a very careful way, but you tend to find the connection breaks down, their barriers go up, right? Because if you're saying, look, no, you're wrong, that's not the way to look at it, this is why we're better, for instance, when you're selling, for instance, a service against the existing service that they already have, you're basically calling them out on a business decision they've made in the past. You're saying your opinion isn't right. And the fact is their opinion is right at the moment for the amount of information they have. Instead of saying to yourself, right, I'm going to argue, you should be saying, look, what I need to be doing is approaching this differently. Rather than trying to prove a point to win, what you're doing is you're winning a battle but not the overall war. You're going to piss them off, you raise up barriers. It's far better to actually say, look, instead of arguing with someone, I need to gently bring them round to there being a different perspective and show them a way in which they could understand what I'm selling in a different view. So if they feel like your product's not up to scratch, don't say, well, no, you're wrong because of this. Show them in a more genteel or elegant way that there's another way of looking at it. Give them data, share testimonials, actually demonstrate the product and make them feel that actually there's another way of looking at it. It's far better for them to come around and say, do you know what, I feel differently about this now, as opposed to you win the argument but you lose the war in the end, like I say, because they're, fine, you've proved them wrong, but now they feel a bit rubbish about it. So don't argue with people. You will always ultimately lose, even if in the short term you've shot them down and you've won that small argument. You actually don't tend to get a sale in the end. So that's the first one, is the never argue policy. The second approach is a state of mind. And the problem is that people go into a phone call or a sales meeting with the state of mind of, I'm going to sell this guy. And that's all very noble, but actually it's less effective than a different approach, which is looking at it from their perspective. So here's the thing, instead of saying, I'm going to sell someone, you should be saying, I'm going to help them buy. Okay? And you might think, oh, come on, there's no difference really in that. No, there is. There is. One is you imposing yourself, I'm going to sell them, and the other is you helping that person, I'm going to help them buy. So what you're doing is you're positioning them to feel more interested in what your product is or what your service has to offer. What you're also doing is you're working with them at their pace to guide them in a way that they feel in control, but also that the decisions are being made with their best interests in mind. So helping them buy is a very important and powerful powerful state of mind, and it positions you as the consultant rather than as the salesperson. And it's that word, that imposition, that you're trying to avoid. Rather than ramming it down their throat, you're going to be buying this thing, even if you do a good job of selling the benefits and so on. It's far better to approach it from the other perspective, which is, let's see what it is that this person actually wants and guide them to get the best solution. Because it may well be that the product they're after is actually slightly different to the product you had to sell, and so you have to sell them that other product instead. Or maybe you have to show your product in a different light, because that would help them buy a bit more. Because you know what? Someone might be buying for a practical reason, but then the next customer wants to buy for more of an emotional reason or something else, and you need to work with that. So helping them buy is an amazing state of mind to have, as opposed to, I'm going to sell this person. Okay, so it's slightly different, but if you get your head around that, you will be in a much better place. You'll certainly be much more receptive, and certainly be listening and demonstrating you're keen on actually helping them a bit more. And that knocks into the third approach, or the third state of mind I have when I go into calls. And this may seem absurd, but if you understand it properly, you'll realize how powerful it is. If you go into a sales call, this is a cold call or a meeting or something, and you say to yourself, I don't know what they want, what it means is you say, look, I'm equipped with all the knowledge of my product, but I'm not going to go in and say I'm going to sell you this product. Because what you don't know is any motivations or reasons why they might want something yet. So instead you go in with much more of an open mind. If you go into a call and say to yourself, I don't know what this guy wants yet, I want to help them buy my product, but I don't know what the motivations are. Again, it puts that onus on listening and understanding the customer first, so you can be far better equipped to, have the right ammunition to close them. Sure, you could go in and just say, here's what you need to buy, here's why it's going to work. But what you're relying on, if you did take that approach, is that they happen to be in the market for it, and they happen to actually need, coincidentally at that moment, the very thing you're approaching them with. Far better to get to understand that person and see what their motivators are. I mean, look, if I was going to sell someone a mobile phone, I wouldn't go at them and say, I'm going to sell you this iPhone, because they might want a Nokia, they might want a BlackBerry, they might want a Samsung phone. So if I'm selling them an iPhone, I may end up selling them a phone, but it might be a lot easier and more accessible with more upgrades and upsells if I sold them the Samsung. But I don't know unless I find out. So sure, I'm going to sell them a phone, but I need to go in thinking I don't know what they want yet. And even though it may be that I only sell iPhones, if they buy an iPhone, going back to that one before, I want to help them buy. So iPhones have a number of features, and person A might buy an iPhone because of the camera quality, whereas person B buys it because of its operating system, and person C buys it because of the way they can interface with it. Everyone has a different reason, so going in essentially saying, I'm going to be receptive here. I know I would like to sell my product, but I want to not argue with them. I want to help that person buy, so work with their set of motivations, and also be open-minded enough that I go in saying, I'm equipped with all the information I need, but I don't have to use it. And I don't have to sell that product as if I'm selling it to me. I need to focus much more on uncovering what it is that prospect is after. Because if I say to myself, I don't know what it is that's going to drive them to buy my product, but that's what I'm here to find out, again, we're going to be much more consultative rather than salesy. So these three things are often missed by huge amounts of salespeople. And I've worked with sales for over 15 years now. I continually see this, that people dial up the phone or go into a meeting and it's all chat about themselves and try and ram the product down their throat and then handle objections. And what they've missed is that, understanding that it needs to be a consultative edge, a receptivity, and awareness that listening is crucial, because then you're going to be far better equipped to show them the thing they're going to want, and then you can help them buy it. So I hope that helps. Do subscribe if you find these tips useful. Down underneath is also the alarm bells. Click on that and you'll get notifications when we release these videos. But otherwise, like it if you did. Leave me a comment. What kind of techniques worked for you in sales? I'm really keen to know. But otherwise, if you like it, tell me. If you hated it, tell me. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Take care.